Well, welcome, Sue. I am so excited to have you here on the Women in Rugby League Life with the Lionesses. And it's Sue Cochrane, nee Sue Cochrane, should I say, Sue Byrne now, who was playing rugby league from being a young age, but actually debuted for the Lionesses in 2000 and 2002. But also you're one of my very elite group, one of the very elite group of dual cappers, because you also played in 2007 France and 2008 as well, so, and was tour captain in 2008 to Australia. So really excited to have you here, and we'll sort of talk through now about your career and how you got there. And so welcome to Life with the Lionesses.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm just loving all of this. So first of all, just start off about where you were born and how you got involved in playing rugby league and how old you are and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, yeah. So where I was born, I was born in Glasgow in 1974.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah. So I'm a Scot, although I didn't stay there very long. We moved when I was about a year old. We moved down to the northeast of England, lived in Middlesbrough before moving to Rotherham in South Yorkshire, and moving really with my dad's profession in the steel industry. So yeah, we landed in Rotherham, and I went to school, primary school, secondary school in Rotherham.
Oh, brilliant. So how did you get involved in rugby league then?
So would you believe, I first played rugby at primary school, and I can remember playing rugby at primary school. My teacher was a big rugby fan, and we used to play with the boys.
Who was your teacher? Can you remember?
He was a teacher called Mr. Graham.
Right.
In a school in Rotherham, and he was a lovely fella, and he would take us out on the field and we'd play rugby. And I used to go at it hard, really. I used to remember loving the physicality of rugby, loving the contact, and I can remember feeling really disappointed when I went to secondary school and we didn't do it. We didn't play rugby. But around about the age of 12, I found judo. And I started, playing judo, as they say, and actually became really quite competitive doing judo, and to the point where I achieved a first dan, or a black belt, when I was 16. And I played judo from being about 12 to about 20. But that was kind of, I loved the contact, I loved the physicality of judo. But I think probably in the back of my mind, I'd also got a taste of rugby.
So how did you get back into rugby league then? What were the opportunities?
So it really came with a move to Sheffield. So after I left school, I moved over to Sheffield and just came across a group of women playing rugby in the local park, in Hillsborough Park. And I thought, oh my gosh, women playing rugby, I'm going to join. And started training with the team down at Hillsborough. So yeah, we trained twice a week and started playing matches on Sundays.
So how old would you have been then?
I would have been 21 or 22 at that time.
So a long gap between sort of primary school, but obviously the judo would have helped with your physicality and everything, and keep you fit, wouldn't it?
So I was quite the all-rounder, really. Judo was a big part of it, but I was also a member of the local Rotherham Harriers athletics club. So loved sprinting, loved judo, loved keeping fit, and sport was just everything to me, really.
So what was it like playing in the women's league then?
It was such fun. I remember the training facility down at Hillsborough at the time, and going from doing a sport like judo, which is quite an individual sport, to being in a team was fantastic. The fun with the girls, you know, the training aspects of it, but also, yeah, the social aspects of it, the friendships that were formed in that time. It was just a wonderful experience. Yeah, traveling together to matches, of course, which were yeah, all over the north of England, really. Absolutely brilliant, and coming up against some really tough women, some really tough teams, rugby, and we had some successes and we had some failures, but just great camaraderie.
And this would have been sort of, was it mid to late 90s?
It would be around, yeah, 95, 6.
Yeah. So when it was really at its height, well, women's rugby league started in 1985 in the league, and it became really at its height in the 90s, where lots of teams like Sheffield, that are outliers really for rugby league, aren't they? Started participating. And Sheffield were always one of the ones that sort of came through and did quite well, actually, from where they were. We did well. We had some really, really tough opponents, but yeah, as I say, we kind of had some real good hard games and some hard fought and hard won games. But just a brilliant experience. Yeah. So tell us a bit about your pathway to getting into Great Britain and eventually captaining your country. So tell us a bit about your pathway in.
Yeah, so the pathway, I guess. I started off, as I said, playing at Sheffield, and I think after about 3 years, myself and some other players made a move over to West Yorkshire and started playing for Red Hill Ladies. And I think it was around about that time that I got a call up for Yorkshire, to play for Yorkshire. So yeah, fantastic opportunity. And really sort of felt like I'd started to sort of come into my own at that stage. I'd really was really enjoying playing. Was really really understanding the game, understanding me sort of position in the game, and got the opportunity to go and play for Yorkshire. And I can recall playing matches at Headingley, and just playing with a great gang of girls, gang of women.
And there's a very iconic game, isn't there, in that Yorkshire v Lancashire, because you used to play Lancashire, didn't you? Tell us a bit more about that one.
So we played some really tough matches against the red rose, the white rose and the red rose. It was just absolutely fantastic. Always really hard fought matches. Brilliant. Just brilliant. I getting the opportunity to play in places like Headingley, and just some of the ferocity, I think, really, as we sort of, these were games that just meant so much to both sides. And some really we ground out some really good results.
Tell us a bit about your experience at Old Trafford in the late 1990s in the Yorkshire-Lancashire game.
Well, that was just such a fantastic opportunity to go to Old Trafford, and just being able to walk into that stadium with just what an electric atmosphere, really. Being able to stand on the pitch and look around and be surrounded by all these fans, cheering the women on. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, because that was a time when the Premiership was played at Old Trafford, wasn't it? And there was 2 games, so there was sort of like a shield, and then there was the Premiership, and the women played in the middle of it. So you actually had the full crowd there. I think there was about 50,000 people. which is
can
pretty
remember
amazing.
I can remember the noise actually coming out. It was it was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. And such, just such a proud moment, to be able to go out and hear everybody cheering for us, that we weren't just playing or being seen by one man and his dog, if you like. There was just so many people there supporting us. It was a lovely experience.
Yeah, it was. It was for all involved that have spoken about it. We should do more like that, shouldn't we?
I know,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your call up for Great Britain then. So you've played for Yorkshire. You've given those Lancashires a bit of a licking. Tell us.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess at the time I was, as I say, I'd moved to play for Wakefield Panthers, and was being trained by Brenda Dobeck, and the Panthers just had a sense. Well, what can I say? They were just an amazing team, and I suppose gradually working my way up. Working my way in and up through that team and getting on that team was tough enough at the time. So playing regularly for Wakefield Panthers, who, they were just brilliant. And then sort of obviously knowing about the opportunity to get a call up, but not really thinking I'd get that letter, but yeah, absolutely. Just overwhelming, Julia, really, and kind of just trying to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? What does this, and how does, am I fit enough? Will I be fit enough? And what does this entail? And it was just amazing. But there were several other players on the Wakefield team, as you know, that were called up for Great Britain, and I guess that gave me some confidence, and it gave me some some people that I really looked up to be able to kind of turn to and say, to sort of allay any anxieties, really. Absolutely amazing moment to get that call up, because I guess it was something that I'd really been working towards, and it was something that I really wanted.
Yeah, that's brilliant, because at that time the Wakefield team were pretty unbeatable, weren't they? I think they had 8 years where they only lost one game or something like that, which is pretty phenomenal.
Formidable, they really were. And I guess having that exposure in those kind of League Cup finals and things like that, and I guess kind of feeling the pressure, because it's really important, isn't it, to be able to manage pressure building up to big games, and that was something that at Wakefield, we took really seriously, and the preparation was something that was always done really well. So I guess that gave me a good flavour of moving into an international team. Yeah.
So you got the call up for international. What was that like then when you first started doing the training sessions, and what was the expectations?
It just tough, like the fitness, the fitness that was required. I mean, we were training 2 nights a week for club. We were playing matches on the weekends, and then when the international, and then sometimes we'd be playing or training for county, and then with the Great Britain, the expectations of Great Britain came along. Obviously it ramped up further, and we'd be thinking about speed sessions, and we'd be thinking about endurance sessions, and we'd be thinking, right, we've got to get these strength sessions in. I remember getting a little folder or a timetable, and thinking to myself, how the heck am I going to fit this around? Because I was working full time, of course, working for the NHS, working shifts, and thinking, oh my goodness, how on earth am I going to fit all this in? And I think as well, traveling. We did a lot of traveling. We were traveling to, I guess for me, living down in I'm going to say down south. I mean, it's not down south, is it? But it was down south for rugby. So often be traveling up to like Warrington and, up in West Yorkshire, and everything always felt like quite a long distance for us to get back to Sheffield or to get from Sheffield. But I suppose you know, I was fortunate that there were other players from Sheffield as well that were travelling. Becky Stevens, and you know, Sam Bailey was going from Sheffield. So you know, we'd well, I can't remember whether it was when I remember taking people up in my old Austin Mini, which was just it just feels like such a long time ago now, but I had this really little Austin Mini and taking people up and down to training sessions. But yeah, trying to fit all the kind of demands of training to be in a Great Britain squad was a lot, really. Although I really enjoyed it, and some of the endurance stuff was hard. Some of the strength sessions I enjoyed more than the endurance sessions and the speed sessions. But we used to use venues like Don Valley Stadium for doing track sessions, and yeah, just brilliant experience.
You were put in training groups, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were actually. Yeah, so we'd meet up. Yeah, so some nights, you know, it could be 5 and 6 days a week. You know, we were meeting and training for, you know, as I say, for a whole host of different reasons, really. Whether that was county or it was club or it was country, really. You know, we were just felt like it was another full-time job, really.
Yeah. So you've got all your training, you've got your full-time job at work, and then there's whatever a lot of these interviews have talked about is the fundraising. So do you remember much about that? And
I do, yeah. I mean, it was just something that was always had to be done. We always had to come up with new creative ways to raise money for touring and for traveling. So I can remember approaching via a friend of mine an electrical company in Sheffield who kindly sponsored me. But I can remember having doing a fundraising night locally in South Yorkshire with a load of people from work, and they put on they did a full Monty.
Oh, right, fantastic!
It was a full Monty. You might need to edit that bit, but no, it was.
I love it.
I'll tell you what, we hired a local room above a pub, and it was a load of staff from work came from work, and the lads said, "We'll do this. We'll do this full Monty."
Oh, I love it. I'm not interested in that at all. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear.
So but you know, there was always different things, bucket collections, and different ways of raising money, really, that people were coming up with. Beetle drives, but different race nights. That was it. We used to do quite a lot of race nights and things. But great fun and often great social experiences as well.
Yeah. Can you remember how much you used to have to get? Can you remember how much you got for either the first or the second tour you did?
I think I've got £1,500 in my mind as a total. I think that was when we went to Australia in 2002.
Yeah.
We needed to pull it, which at that time it felt like a hell of a lot of money. So I think some of that contribution, as I say, was from sponsorship. I think I got 2 different sponsors, 2 different company sponsors, and then just friends and family, and pulling that together.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. So tell us about, so you've done all this training, you've raised all this money, and then you get your call up, and your first call up was the 2000, which was the first home series that they'd had. So it was a World Series, and you're playing in front of your home crowd. So tell us a bit more about getting that letter and how everyone felt about it. And it was the 2000 World Cup in and the location we were staying
were going to be staying at a hotel in I think it was Wigan. I think it was the Wigan area. And yeah, we were going to be there for 3 weeks. So we, I shared a room with one of the players from York, with Michelle Handley. So yeah, we got there, and it was November time, and it was, I just remember it being really wet and really cold, and and yeah. And I did think to myself, how on earth are the tourists from Australia and New Zealand gonna come across and take to this weather? Because I can remember going on the coach, and it was tipping down a lot of the time. So yeah, we based ourselves in Wigan. I think I was something like number 22 in the squad, or something like that, or 23 in the squad. So I was only really breaking into the squad, and yeah, just didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, got me kit, which was really exciting. Got all the England kit, and yeah, just building up to playing these games, and I guess going along without having an expectation. I didn't know when I was going to come on. I didn't know when I was going to play. I didn't know if I was even going to get to play a game. But you know, remember arriving and seeing some of the players from New Zealand, Australia, and seeing the pace, and yeah, it was just intense. It felt really intense, but brilliant group, and such fun. Brilliant group of women.
So what was it like in camp then?
It was it felt intense. I think intense was the word, but as well it was hard work. There was an anticipation in camp of like there was a confidence, though. I have to say there was a confidence. But the kind of core group of women who'd obviously previously been tourists, they thought, we've got this. We're as strong as anybody on our day, and we can beat these. So there was I think there was quite a confidence in the squad, but yeah, it was just about kind of learning on the job, I guess, and fitting in, and trying to stay as fit as possible, and kind of hoping I was going to get a chance to get on the pitch, really.
So tell us a bit about that, when you first got on the pitch then, and when you first played for your country.
Oh gosh, it just seemed to go by in a flash, really. It was I did get to play. I got to come off the bench. I got on as a forward, and I can remember taking up the ball, and I can remember the contact. In fact, I'll never forget the contact. I played. I think was it the Australia game? But yeah, I remember colliding in this game, and just not really knowing who was on top of this tackle. Whether I'd actually tackle my opponent and I'd come out on top, or whether I was underneath. But the ferocity and the pace that player had run into me was yeah, it was something else. The level was something else. But after getting over those initial nerves, trying to sort of click into gear a bit more and start to play to play my game, and sort of manage, keep on top and contain my nerves. It was just brilliant. I just loved it. I loved being on the pitch, and it was just I don't know how to describe it, Julia. It was just amazing. It was just an amazing experience. So tough, but fantastic, and the feeling the game was really close. I know that I can't remember every detail, I'm afraid, but the game that we played in was just so close, the scores, and I think the scores have been so tight. You know, there was a feeling that it could go either way. But I can't really describe it. It was just just incredible.
And the actual Aussie game, which was the semi-final, you won. I think it was 4-0. I think in my head it was 4-0 or something.
Yeah, it was 4-0, and the tension, you know, you could just cut the air. It was just it was just so close and so close all the way through. And I think that was the night that the weather was really bad.
Yeah, well, the whole of that Rugby League World Cup, that 2000, was really wet, because you had to move a venue at one point as well, from Hull to, I think you went to Rochdale or something. Gosh. Yeah.
And I think it was just two goals that it was that swung. Gosh, it was, but I remember the feeling of just, I can only say it was euphoria, really, and coming back and, you know, everybody celebrating the win, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah. So you've won. You've beaten the Australians, and you're in the final of the World Series. What was that like?
I didn't play. I didn't play in the final of the World Series, but again, just to be part of that team and to be part of the squad was it was just amazing. I feel it feels a bit overwhelming when you think about it, really, because it's going back such a long time. But the team just really fought for each other. They fought for each other throughout, and we played really well. And we're just so I want to say cohesive as a team as well.
Yeah. Well, it was getting that way where this was the third tour, wasn't it? The third time we had, you know, a few changes in the team, but actually there was some real people that had been there for 3 years, but also a lot of new people coming in that were gelling the team.
Yeah, some great, you know, some great leaders in the team as well. Some really great leaders, and you know, Lisa and Banksy and players like that, you know, that it was just really really looked up to, and really and Brenda sort of just took such a lead and gave you such confidence, I think.
Yeah. So you've done your 2000, and the next trip is to Australia in 2002. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so that was the we went to and got the call up for the 2002, and I think we flew via somewhere obscure like Bahrain or something like that
to save money.
I'm sure it was somewhere like Bahrain anyway, but we got there, and again, just didn't really know what to expect, but I think I shared a room with Lisa Mack, and we were staying in a motel by a really busy road, and it wasn't the most sort of salubrious of accommodation, you could say. It was there was three beds in this really small room, and if I remember rightly, there was quite a lot of the team that weren't very well, and there was a bit of a chest infection or something like that going around, and there was a few of the team that were coughing and a bit unwell, and it took us a while, actually, I think, to sort of come around from the travel of it, because I mean it's such and come around from the jet lag, and having sorry, I've just lost you, Julian.
All right, I can see it, so just get us back.
Yeah, so I think we were in a place near Sydney. I think it was Wentworthville. You know, quite quickly we just adjusted, and we started training at a local pitch, and sort of I guess building towards the first test against the Gila Rouge.
Yeah. So that was a tour of Australia as well. Have you got any other memories from that?
It was a 3-test tour of Australia, and so the first test, and again this is subject to, you know, my memory is not the best these days, but the first test was in Sydney, and then we travelled from there. We went to Brisbane, which was really lovely, and I'm just trying to think. From there we went to Canberra. I think we were in Canberra for the last of the 3 tests. But you know, playing, training, I think we did a couple of regional games in there as well. Had a little bit of downtime, but yeah, as I say, some of the memories that I have was the places that we stayed in Canberra and Brisbane. I remember getting to Brisbane actually, and there was lovely hot sunshine, and I can remember after a training session we were all just panned out on the grass, just enjoying the sunshine, because I think it had been cooler in Sydney, and then it was hotter in Brisbane, and then we moved on to Canberra, so we were kind of acclimatizing as well. Yeah, we got to we got to play in some of these brilliant venues as well. So we played at ANZ Stadium before it was it was ANZ Stadium, and I think then it was Suncorp Stadium. But it was it was ANZ Stadium, and that was a really good opportunity to play in such a magnificent stadium, really.
Yeah. So can you remember any of the off-field antics?
Oh, off-field antics. I can remember that we got to go out in Brisbane. Because we were playing around the Brisbane Broncos, and quite a lot of the Brisbane Broncos team were there. I can remember being out all in our Great Britain suits, because I can remember I've got some photographs actually of our team with some of the Brisbane Broncos players. I can remember being out there with Becky Stevens, and I think that was one of the games where she ended up with 2 black eyes, and a big cut across her nose, because I've got a photograph of us with I think there's myself and Becky Stevens in the front row of the Brisbane Broncos. And yeah, Brisbane, just such a beautiful place, and we did get to have a little bit of downtime and a couple of really good nights out there.
Yeah. So you did the 2002 tour. Tell us what because you are one of my, as I say, one of the unique club of double cappers for England and for Great Britain. So tell us a bit about, from that 2002, your bit of a journey to eventually get into England, play for England.
So following the 2002 tour, I was kind of blighted. I was blighted with injury, which is when I look back, was something that I felt really sort of inhibited me. I'd got an existing knee injury from my judo days actually, and then I needed 2 cruciate ligament injuries, so I needed both knees operating on. So I had quite a period of time really where I struggled with injury, leading up to getting back in the squad in 2007, or getting back into the England squad. So I mean, I still continued to play, and I still continue to play for my club, but sort of played up to sort of having my knees operated on and then coming back. and getting back fit again. So, and then I got the call up to play again in 2007, and travelled to France, which was just, yeah. And actually, I think at that time I'd started to play some of my better rugby by then. So there was the 2007 tour when I got to go to France, and we went down to Toulouse, and then I was able to play the following year in 2008 for England, when I was named as team captain, which was just, yeah, the best moment of my rugby career, actually, to be able to lead the England team. And we absolutely thrashed the French that day. I think we put 40 or 50 points past them. Only for 5 minutes before the end of the game, and then I broke my leg.
Oh no.
So yeah, just in the last 5 minutes, I put my foot into the ground in a tackle. I think I was tackling one of the French players, and another player came in, and we just came together in this big tackle, and my foot was stuck in the ground, and I ended up with a fracture dislocation of my right ankle. Yeah, it was just crushing, absolutely crushing, to feel like I'd got to that point, just to get another injury. So yeah, that was a low. That was a real low of my career, really. But then going and having that operation, and having that reset, and having it pinned, and having it plated, and then I can remember my commitment to rehab, because we'd got the World Cup in 2008, and I broke my leg in the July, and the team were travelling to Australia again in the October November time, and I was so determined that I wanted to go on that tour, and I just put everything into rehab. And I can remember traveling up and down and asking friends and family to take me to physio and take me to rehab sessions, which were at Huddersfield, at the McAlpine Stadium at Huddersfield. So I was going up there all the time and having physio on this ankle to get to the point where I could start to run on it and start to sort of rejoin the team and rejoin training, and gradually got to the point where I had a fitness test, and I got the green light to be able to go to Australia in 2008. When I think back now, it just feels surreal, really, that I ever did that. I can't believe I ever did that. But no, what an honour, absolute honour to be able to go in 2008. I mean, yeah, I played, and the first game I played actually in the 2008 World Cup was, believe it or not, was against the French again.
Oh dear.
So yeah, so I came on and played the French. My fitness wasn't all there, I managed to play, but I probably didn't play to the best that I could have played. But I still got on the pitch, and I still got to play against the French and get a bit of my own back, I think, really.
So what was that World Cup like? Because it was the first World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was on the Gold Coast, which was beautiful. And there was such, I mean, I suppose going from the tour to Australia in 2002, the difference between that tour, the accommodation and the support that was there, and the tour in 2008, we just had some really, really lovely accommodation that had, really good facilities, had a swimming pool for us to rehab in. We were really well looked after on that tour. It was in a beautiful location, as I say, on the Gold Coast, on the Sunshine Coast. So we felt like we were really well looked after.
Yeah, well, that's the first year they accessed performance funding. So that's where the money came
Yeah.
from Sport England, and England became the performance team. So, yeah. Because did you have to fundraise at all for that one?
I'm not sure we did. I don't think I can recall.
I think that was the year that it started to change the shift when she went to England, and it began to shift.
Certainly nothing like we did when we had to fundraise for 2000. I can't remember that we did, Julia, to be
no, I don't think you did actually. Yeah. So what's been the most challenging aspect then of your international career?
Well, I think the injury. I was blighted with injuries. Still am. Still am. It's left a legacy, really. But yeah, and that left me with a lot of frustration. Left me with a lot of difficult feelings, I guess, because you know, I felt like I'd got into the international side and injury just sort of kept coming back. I couldn't really ever shake it off. So if it wasn't the knee or the ankle, it was something else, and that was a struggle. I guess the other challenge was really fitting it around a career, and then fitting it around you kind of biological body clock, really. And you know, I retired from playing rugby and had my daughter in 2009, so at the age of 35. So I was kind of that was coming along as well. So but I guess I mean, I've pretty much always worked full time for the NHS since I qualified as a mental health nurse in 2000. So the two things really ran parallel, I guess, in a lot of ways. Started my nurse training in 1997, and you know, I can remember going to the charge nurse or the ward sister at the time and saying, I want 3 weeks off to play for England. And I'd not been qualified as a nurse very long at all. And she was like, what? She said, well, you'll have to take unpaid leave.
So is that what you had to do?
Take some unpaid leave for it, yeah.
Wow, that would have been in 2000, wouldn't it?
That was it. That was in 2000. I mean, I had to take my letter in, my England call-up letter in to the charge nurse and say, look, this is what's happened, and you know, this is what I want to do, and negotiate the leave around it.
Wow, that's a lot of dedication, that, isn't it?
Yeah, so and I guess, you know, all the way through up until about 2010, I was working shifts, so which a lot of the women were. We were all working well, early mornings, late nights, night shifts. You know, we were having to manage training around that, and I felt like I was forever asking for time off for playing rugby. I can also remember regularly turning into work on a Sunday afternoon shift, filthy and covered in bruises. I can remember the patients, they'd say to me, nurse, what have you done? What's that? They're all, I think they got used to it after a while, but they'd say, have you been playing rugby again, nurse? Well, I've got so much support actually from fellow staff, and they all got behind, like, as I said, with the fundraising events that we did and things. You know, people really got behind me, which was lovely.
Yeah. So what's the positive? So think of a couple of positives of being involved.
Well, I think the overwhelming positive for me is those kind of lifelong friendships that you know I've been blessed with, really, from rugby. It's just been and you know, some of my very best times were with friends that I made at playing rugby, and you know, I've still got a core group of friends from Sheffield playing days, which was way back, and you know, I still meet them now. So friendships, definitely. That's the biggest positive.
Yeah. So when you reflect back now on what you've achieved, what do you think?
I think doing this has really, really, prompted me to reflect back. I just feel so honoured, I think, really, to have had the opportunity when I did, and to have been able to just be part of that amazing group of women, strong women, and it, just fun, just had great fun, and I suppose, I guess if I could do it all again, I would.
Yeah.
If I could stop the clock and do it all again right now, injuries and all, I would.
So when you look at rugby league now, and I mean, I don't know if you have any involvement still, but look at where women's rugby league is now. What have you got to sort of say to the next generation?
I just think, there's no better time, really, is there, for women's sport. If anything, I look back enviously and think, oh gosh, I wish we'd had those opportunities. I mean, talking about my daughter, she's a bit of an all-rounder, a bit of a sportswoman, and I just think, oh, the opportunities that you've got now to play any sport, really, as a woman, are amazing. And I just say, grab it with both hands. I'd be so proud if my daughter had the opportunity to play internationally, in any sport, really. But just fantastic, because as I say, you just have the best experiences. You get to travel, you meet those lifelong friends, and just have such amazing memories.
Oh, so thank you for your time. You've been an absolute inspiration. When you hear about your recovery, from injury, and you're battling on, and wow, if people can't take inspiration from that and still being able to get there, and tour captain as well, and as I say, one of our dual Great Britain England people, which is a very select club of women. So thank you very much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and it's been lovely to hear your memories, and I look forward to whatever your next is, and seeing your daughter play some international sport as well.
You never know. Thank you so much for asking me, Julia. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.